All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Eric Paul Zane with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the cash plays here for week 3 and going through kind of the cash thoughts and builds for week 3. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. If you guys do enjoy this video, though, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That does help out the channel a lot. We're trying to keep growing this bad boy, so I do appreciate that. That just helps me be able to help you guys out. All right, let's get into it. So honestly, guys, this week, the cash plays are a lot more difficult than previous weeks. I'm going to go through and try to make a chalk cash build first, and then I'm going to give you guys my cash thoughts. Okay, the problem with this week just in general is literally there aren't strong cash plays in week 3. Week 1, week 2, we had strong cash plays. Week 3, not so much. Okay, part of that's due to matchup, part of that's due to price points. So this isn't where like we kind of have to work for it, which is kind of the fun part. Like the first 2 weeks, kind of just easier to find the strong plays. This is going to be a little bit more difficult, which I enjoy. But first, let's make a chalk cash build. So Joe Mixon pretty chalk. Diggs is pretty chalk right now. I like him as a play given his price point. Then you got Dalvin Cook, who's looking pretty chalky as well. And then David Montgomery. A lot of people are going to be on David Montgomery, a safe play at his price point. And then Devonta Smith is actually pretty cheap as well, so we can make this work. Jalen Hurts is still pretty chalky as well. If you guys wanted to play him, you can. And like, yes, we don't have enough to make this work. Okay, defense wise, we could go, I don't know, the lowest price defense, and then like a low owned tight end. Let's just go Juwan Johnson, just trying to get a floor here. And like maybe you could go with like Matt Collins, I guess, to make this chalk build work. Oh, Matt Collins is 3.3. There's some other values out there that are min priced. Let's see. And then sure, like Shi Smith, if you want to make that work, okay, whatever. Okay, an okay chalk build. Nothing that I love too much. This is just for my example purposes. I don't like this. Okay, so let's go through the cash process like we typically would. So I'm just going to start off with David Montgomery. He should be a strong, safe play on this slate going against the Houston Texans, which are going to be a great matchup. They just gave up 149 yards rushing last week. And then in week 1, they gave up 154 rushing yards to Jonathan Taylor. David Montgomery is a solid NFL running back. We all know that. He is this offense, especially currently. The offense runs through him. So if they're going to have a good game offensively, that's going to be because of David Montgomery. That's going to be because he has a good game. He had a great game last week, 15 carries, 122 yards. He kind of kept them in that game. It was a lot closer, obviously, than what the score says there. But David Montgomery at 5.9, just an awesome play for a guy that's playing a lot of snaps and is going to get high usage and is in a great matchup. Like, I don't get that price point. Part of it was due to the fact that they played that Sunday night game. They couldn't really price and force him last week. And after that, I don't mind staying with a running back in that same game. Dameon Pierce played in 60% of the snaps last week, saw 15 carries, 1 target. We want to see those targets go up. We want to get that nice safe floor. And so like for FanDuel purposes, I think Pierce makes a lot of sense as a cash play. Okay. Just because we don't have to worry about the PPR side of it as much. If he's going to continue to get that workload in a game that's definitely going to be close. And I think this is going to be an easier matchup. We just saw Aaron Jones go off against them. AJ Dillon did somewhat struggle, but that was on the inside runs. Obviously on the outside runs with Aaron Jones, kind of what Dameon Pierce has been doing more of. I could see Dameon Pierce just having a solid game, maybe getting 100 rushing yards. I do see him getting to double-digit DK points, being able to 2x at his current price point. I like that a lot. Other running back plays that you could go with, I do love Austin Eckler if Keenan Allen is going to sit, especially with Justin Herbert a little bit banged up. They're going to want to get probably their best offensive weapon going, okay, with Herbert banged up and with Keenan Allen out. Like, those targets should continue to be there for him. He should have a nice safe floor because of that. Like, there's no sense of like keeping Justin Herbert in the pocket, keeping him like not moving. Like, I would just play Austin Eckler at that point. And then from there, guys, like, it is tough. Like, I don't love any of these other plays. And that's the biggest issue on this slate. Like, sure, you could pay for Jonathan Taylor. I don't mind that. Derrick Henry could have a good play or a good week, but he's more of a GPP play. Then we got a lot of question marks. A lot of people are banged up, so that could open up some value. But for now, I'm kind of just going with the 2 running back system. So starting off with Curtis Samuel, guys, just for his role, he is the #1 offensive weapon for the Washington Commanders. 9 targets last week, 1 rushing attempt, so over 10 opportunities now in 2 straight games as a receiver, priced at 5.1 for a guy that they're manufacturing plays to come his way. Like, this isn't fluky, the production, because they're manufacturing plays to come his way. So that should mean he has a safe floor. That should mean he should be able to hit value at this price point. 5.1 is still simply too cheap, and the matchup isn't too crazy. Okay, this is a matchup in which I do think we can attack. Now, sure, Minnesota sucked against them last week, the Eagles, but that was just primetime Kirk Cousins. In week 1, the Detroit Lions really just dominated against them, and some of that was short, quick dump-offs. DeAndre Swift, St. Brown, like, you can see that path working once again. Curtis Samuel at 5.1, simply too cheap. He should at least be 6K just given his role in that offense currently. I do think you can fit Cooper Kupp into your build. You do want to do that, okay, guys? Easiest matchup that he's had thus far this season. Just been getting targeted a ton, and why wouldn't you target him? He is just always open. Sure, Matthew Stafford forces it to him a little bit too much sometimes, which causes an interception here or there, but the offense does run through Cooper Kupp, and if you can afford to fit him into your builds, I do think that you should do that. The tough part about this slate is like Stephon Diggs is still pretty cheap, relatively speaking, given the matchup. 7.7 for a guy that's went for 29 and 47 DK points. Like, that is crazy. Okay, and this is a game in which is expected to be higher scoring. I know he's probably going to get Xavier Howard, who mostly shut down Rashad Bateman, except for one slant play. But I guess that one slant play was there, okay? And like that Miami defense did give up a lot of points last week to Lamar Jackson, to a team that doesn't really have great offensive weapons, not as good as Diggs, okay? So like, I don't mind Diggs at that price point. I do think if you can make him work into your builds, you can. I will say Tyreek Hill should be able to hit value, very cheap. AJ Brown, very cheap, should be able to hit value. St. Brown, very cheap, should be able to hit value, okay? And this is where the value is on that slate. If Keenan Allen sits, I do think Mike Williams is going to get peppered with a lot of targets. And if that's true, like at this price point, 6.7, he is simply too cheap as well. That's kind of the issue, is that there are so many decent receiver plays, and it's for you guys to decide where you want to go with that. Personally, I've kind of been paying down at the receiver spot. Like Devonta Smith does make a lot of sense. They weren't able to price correct him from that Monday Night Football game. He went off, had 7 targets, 80 receiving yards, 15 DK points. Like, that was very solid. Against Washington, a game in which I do think we can game stack, Devonta Smith does make a lot of sense currently because he opens up a lot of stuff with your DFS builds if you guys want to go that route. And then another receiver play that I do really like, and I'm just waiting for confirmation that he's going to play, is going to be Jacoby Myers. Like, two of my favorite plays on the slate are Jacoby Myers and then also David Montgomery. Okay, Jacoby Myers in this matchup should have a nice safe floor. We got to wait for confirmation that he's going to play. If he sits, someone like Nelson Aguilar could be a great value. But for now, I'm assuming that Jacoby Myers is going to play, just kind of nursing the injury. Don't want him to, play injured. So he's missed a couple of practices, but 10 DK points in both week 1 and week 2, 18 DK points in week 2. He saw 13 targets in week 2 as well. Best matchup that they've had thus far this season. He should be able to go off and have a good game. I'd have no issue with him being able to 2x this week. And then get into the quarterbacks. I do think if you can afford to pay up for Josh Allen, you should. Lamar Jackson just dominated against the Miami Dolphins. Okay, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson are kind of similar in the sense that they're going to run the ball a lot if it's open. If not, they can just pass on you and just dominate. So given the fact that Lamar Jackson just dominated against them, I do really love Josh Allen. Obviously, Josh Allen has been cooking, okay? 32 DK points in week 2, 33 DK points in week 1. I expect him to go for like 30 DK points once again this week. I do think we can just basically lock in 25 DK points as well. So like Josh Allen is very easy to fit into your build. But if you want to pay down, you could. Like Jalen Hurts is fine. He's firmly in play. I do think Matthew Stafford is going to go for 20 DK points as well. If you're looking for a value quarterback play, I still really like Mac Jones at this price point. I do think he's going to be able to get to 15 DK points, 18 DK points, like 2 touchdowns. That should be there for him. But I also do really love Marcus Mariota going against the Seattle Seahawks at 5.5. Okay, the rushing attempts should be there for him. This is definitely his easiest matchup thus far this season. He's looked pretty good as well. Okay, 20 DK points in week 1, 16.4 in week 2. Honestly, if he gets 16.4 DK points this week, I'd be perfectly fine with that. So Marcus Mariota at this price point, I do want to fit in there. Like if I can't afford Josh Allen, I'm probably just paying down for Marcus Mariota. Tight end wise, you could pay up for Travis Kelce. I don't hate that. I'm not going that route. I just love Tyler Higbee at his current price point, 4.5 for a guy that's playing 90% of the snaps in a game in which you want a game stack. A matchup that is appealing as well. 9 targets last week, 11 targets in week 1. Very consistent fantasy production. Like if he gets 8.9 DK points for us like he did in week 1, I'd be fine with that. So Tyler Higbee, you could firmly fit into your builds. I still love Tyler Conklin, also playing 90% of the time snaps currently. 9 and 7 targets thus far this season. Very safe, productive tight end. And then Irv Smith. I do expect Irv Smith to see his role increase once again like it did in week 2. Should have had 2 touchdowns last week. Still had 8 targets, still had 14.6 DK points. Not as safe, but that is definitely a game in which you want a game stack. It's going to be a game in which it's going to be high scoring. So Irv Smith does make a lot of sense as well. And you guys are already seeing the problem that I'm having right now is having too much money left over almost. Like I probably will just pay up for a receiver here. We just got to figure out where we want to go from there. So like defensively, I don't love anything. I do like the Houston Texans at 2.6, but my whole thing with playing a defense is I want to pick the lowest price defense that's not going to give us a 0. And right now I'm kind of not seeing that. Maybe the Detroit Lions, maybe the New York Jets, like, but I'd just rather go with like Houston, who's been very solid defensively, going against Chicago, who hasn't been. Like, Houston defensively has given up 20 and 16 points. That is very solid against the Colts, who were supposed to be a great offense, and against the Denver Broncos, who were supposed to be a great offense. So I do think the Texans are my favorite defense thus far right now. So from there, where can we pay up? Josh Allen, that's a simple one. And then maybe Devonta Smith, we'll see. Maybe go with Marquise Brown, who's just been playing a lot. Like, this should be a solid, safe cash build for you guys in week 3. All right, before I get out of here, I just want to give a quick thank you to our sponsor, Sports Battle app. Sports Battle app is a daily fantasy sports prop-based app, okay? You guys can go in there today, make a deposit using the promo code 9 and then TO5. Okay, it will match a deposit up to $100. And if you do a $50 deposit, you get $5 cash back using that promo code. All right, that's all I have for you guys this week. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.